Hey, welcome to our podcast. This is Bad Playstyle. Bad Playstyle is a book club podcast where we all sit down and play the same game. And hopefully you have played the same game at home so that you can be intellectually engaged with our conversation.
Not psychically savaged by the infinite spoiler.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're going to spoil every game that we set out to play. And any games that come up, I don't know, we'll probably fucking spoil them too, so check the show notes before you listen to an episode if you don't want to get blindsided by us mentioning off the cuff that, I don't know, Paul Ryan is Atlas.
Well, you want to talk about like why we're doing this? Or like where you got the idea? I was gonna say this idea predates the world stepping into an alternate hellscape timeline.
Yeah.
Which is pretty like apropos of Doom.
Yeah.
Right.
Now we are all the Doom Marine.
Yeah.
Doom Slayer.
Yeah. I love that. I think my favorite thing in Doom is the ability to walk away during those sequences.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I actually find that like
In character.
not in character, but it's like it's way more like it says way more about the game and like what the game wants. That like there's this dude. And then you just like it just sort of like fades away because
like yeah, whatever.
You're walking off to go kill some dudes.
Yeah,
Like the Doomslayer doesn't need someone to tell him who the
Sure.
Doomslayer is.
Right.
You know?
So I guess we're talking about Doom now. So I should say if you don't want spoilers for Doom,
Well, why don't I answer what you said about starting
Yeah,
this podcast?
sure,
So
sure.
I made some off the cuff remark on Facebook that is an idea that popped in my head. I think when I was at work, they're like, tank controls would be a really good name for a podcast. And
yeah, that is how this started.
yeah, and that was just like a random idea I had when I was like at work or something. And a friend of mine who actually has run a podcast, who we're hopefully going to get on here someday.
Yeah.
But he's a busy man. Anyway, he just said like, "Oh yeah, if you want to start a podcast, I can make that happen." And I was like, "Oh, that's
Oh my.
yeah."
Me?
Yeah. I never created anything.
so I guess my follow-up question for that would be: do you hate tank controls?
I actually don't really have a relationship with them. Tank controls are something I think you see mostly in console games.
Yes, definitely. Resident Evil
like
is the worst offender.
3D console
Which
games.
I guess tells you how I feel about tank controls.
I've actually never owned a 3D home console.
That's it. Yeah, that's fair.
I'm not gonna like.
Wait, weren't there 3D games on the Super Nintendo?
There was Star Fox.
Okay.
Period.
But like,
Maybe
yeah.
they take away the S.
Yeah.
There was 3D game on the Super Nintendo.
There's other stuff, but like,
there's a couple games that utilize.
but you could even argue that like Star Fox is 2.5D with 3D models, right? Like the way 2.5D has been defined. I
think Star Fox is a 3D game. I would call it a 3D game, hands down.
It's on a rail though, so that like sort of
It's on
limits
rails,
it.
sure,
Yeah.
but it's still a 3D rendered
So
game.
Time Crisis.
Yeah. But there's like a couple games that use the mysterious mode 7 of the SNES.
The Mysterious Mode 7. I'm going to have to hear about this.
Yeah,
But I don't think this is the particular time.
Yeah,
Anyway,
it's a thing.
we're kind of we're stumbling all over ourselves because it's podcast 1. But
Yeah.
let's go around the room. Who's this gentleman over here?
I am Keenan. What are we saying here?
You just that's it. That's all you need to say.
I'm a Sega Genesis kid.
Okay.
Yeah. My name is Owen.
Yeah.
I play a lot of PC games. The last home console I got was a Super Nintendo, and it was given to me by my sister when the PlayStation 1 came out. Because she didn't want any more, because it was some old busted-ass console to her.
Yeah, that goes to show the Super Nintendo is a beast.
Yeah.
It's still going.
Well, I guarantee you that PlayStation that she replaced it for does not work anymore. But I'll tell you, sure as sugar, that the SNES still works.
Yeah. And I'm Matt. And I'm whatever.
A charmer.
Nailed it.
Nail everything. Anyway, moving on. This is our book club that I think Keenan named Bad Playstyle.
I think I think that was Owen.
Yeah.
Really?
But I think we were talking about. I don't know. That name conversation was weird.
Yeah, it was a little idea storm.
Yeah.
There.
It's called Bad Playstyle. Why is it called Bad Playstyle? I'll ask the table.
Oh, because we're bad at video games.
Because we're bad at video games. Yeah,
We're bad. We're bad at video games, and also it's supposed to be a play on like. There's not really a wrong way to play a game.
Yeah.
But I think all of us have definitely found the wrong way to play games at certain points.
If you've ever made your parents play video games,
Yeah.
there's a wrong way
That's
to play
true.
video games.
That's absolutely true.
Yeah.
Like with the small exception of VR, I think throwing someone into VR is kind of hard to fuck up. Like you can hit the wrong button,
Yeah.
but like the idea of WASD straight up bouncing
Yeah.
off old people's
Yeah.
brains.
Yeah.
But like
VR is
the
much more
idea
intuitive.
of moving your body.
Yeah.
Yeah. I already know how to do that.
I don't know, when I brought my family over to use the VR headset, I definitely threw my brother in the wrong way and threw my parents in the right way without realizing it. Where I put my brother in to play the lab and had him do the robot dissection thing.
Okay.
And he was like very visually overwhelmed by like all the robot parts coming out in his face, and didn't want to touch it. And then when it broke, he got scared that he'd actually fucked up the robot. And I had to explain to him afterwards, like, no, it's cool. Like, you have to fuck that one
That
up.
just happens.
Whereas, like, when I put my dad in, I put him in a job simulator, and he just started making smoothies and was having a great time. And I put my mom in Tilt Brush, and she had a great time with Tilt Brush.
I put my mom in King Kaiju, and she kept accidentally hitting the teleport button
Oh,
and being like, "Where did the world go?" And I'd be like, "Turn around!" Because she would teleport like 3 times in quick succession, because that game doesn't have cooldown on teleport like everything else. Anyway, we're talking about Doom.
Yes.
That's what we're here to
That's
do.
the point of why we're here.
So the point was we were going to play short form video games. The first one we picked was Doom. Because why? Because
we were all just playing it.
we were already playing it.
and Doom is very good.
It's a good thing to talk about. It's got a lot of things going with it.
Sure,
yeah.
So
Sure. So
I have to
you
get
have papers. So
I have my Doom legend.
Ooh, Doom.
not to be confused with our Nightmare Hellscape reality.
Last night at like 1 a.m. I realized...
Well, that's just the regular executive branch's agenda.
It's just a regular Tuesday.
Yeah.
Well, last night at 1 a.m. when I was going to bed, I realized I hadn't written out my notes for Doom, and I said to myself, no, I'll write my Doom agenda tomorrow morning. And I was like, that's a weird
That's a
phrase
weird thing to say.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a good mouthfeel, though.
Yeah.
I want to talk about my
Good
Doom agenda more.
mouthfeel?
Yeah.
Fuck off.
The verbal texture of it.
Oh,
Yeah.
God damn it.
I like that Matt hates mouthfeel.
Dude, like, words have been triggering my shit lately. Steven said gunt the other day, and I was just like, stop it! And it wasn't anything to do with like the visual imagery of that. It was literally
just the
like,
word
as you said,
itself.
the mouth feel,
Yes.
which I hate you of that particular phrase. Anyway, Doom agenda. Sorry.
Well, I just had the beats I wanted to make sure I hit when we talked about
hit
it.
some beats.
Yeah. Lay it down.
Jackson beats.
Where do we start?
Beat Jack.
Yeah.
Do we start with the beginning?
Well, yeah.
I mean, like, that's logical, but is that where we want to start?
Well, okay, so... But you were going to say something. What?
Doom plays like a game I didn't know I wanted anymore.
Sure, yeah,
Absolutely.
It's definitely a throwback, but at the same time, it's got a lot of modern stuff.
Yeah,
to it.
Like, I feel like these days...
like RPG mechanics.
We often see like a lot of shooters that are like trying to be this thing that isn't really popular anymore. Like I've seen on Steam like games that want to be Quake 3 Arena,
Yeah.
or like a modern take on Quake.
There's
3
a lot of
Arena.
things that want to be UT.
Yeah,
right?
and they very much like execute on that ethos.
Well, remember the picture I told you about the other day? You will never be 15 on Blood Gulch ever again.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And we were both just like, oh, that's so sad. But it's really true.
Right.
Like we're not there anymore.
Yeah.
And so like Doom is like very much in this old style that like if someone just told me about it, I would say like, okay, that sounds cool. I don't think it's gonna find its feet in 2016. I don't think that audience exists for it anymore. I don't think people.
Right.
I don't think what it's offering sounds enticing.
Right.
but,
Your
like,
immediate thing is to not believe it.
Yeah,
right. Like
and it's like, oh, it's violent and it's self-aware and it like you're killing demons and it's like cool. That sounds like Duke Nukem, like fucking great.
Yeah.
You know, but no. Instead, it's actually incredible. It's this adrenaline like. Using adrenaline to like describe an action video game is like the most tired thing in the world.
But like it works.
Yeah, it is a game that would like get me jacked up and like a little on edge to the point where I would have to take breaks from it.
Yeah, like if I'm screaming "Gotcha, bitch" to a mancubus, like the product is doing what it's meant to do, right?
Yeah. Product goals achieved.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or,
I remember
or if I'm in the middle of a berserker power up and I yell "Come here, bitch" at
Baron.
yeah, like
the way he flexes his hands, like does it all for me.
Yeah, there's a lot of good like first person animation.
Yeah.
So I guess I have a question. When was the moment you knew that it was working? Like the first moment.
The demo.
The demo.
So like for me, I found out there's a demo. I was like, cool. There's a fucking demo, right?
Like 2016.
It's 2016 and there's a demo.
Actually, so I had have neither of you guys have read Masters of Doom, right?
No, not yet.
So it's like a history of id and like of like early id making like Commander Keen and shit like that and Doom.
The Blastowist Chronicles.
Yeah, and like part of like how Doom really made its bones or how it made its bones is like when they made Doom, they made it as a shareware demo, and they distributed it themselves. They didn't go through publishers. They were like mailing out these floppies to people.
Right.
And so like Doom in 2016 having a demo is like the most id thing in the world.
Yeah, it is Doom.
Yeah.
Again, right?
Yeah, like the way they sold their game is like
You're gonna like the way it plays. I guarantee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, the demo for me was like, one, there's a demo, cool, I'm gonna download that. But then like I played it and it's like the first two level. It's like the intro and the first real level of the game, right? Like air quotes real level. And like it's just enough for the game to just sort of like kick you in the nuts, slap you in the face, and be like, "This is what you're doing."
Yeah.
And that was enough for me to be like, "Yes, when I have money, I want more of this."
Sure.
Because like part of it's that intro sequence does a really good job, but then like I really like the way that game progresses along its path. And you could see that in the demo, and like I already knew, okay, there's going to be more after that. To the point where I was like, yes, more.
Please.
Yes, more.
Yes,
please, sir, may I have some more?
May I have another? For me, it was the moment where I realized that the Doom Marine wasn't going to stop breaking things.
Right. Yeah. Then you're like, oh, I'm in.
Okay, I get it. Like, and it was like the dude said in the documentary. What if the thing is that they know? And,
right.
And we know they know. And we all know.
Right.
And it's just shoot demons.
Right.
So for our two listeners at home,
all two.
What Matt just referenced off the cuff is a documentary series on YouTube made by Danny O'Dwyer. He's like a GameSpot
No
guy.
Clip.
Yeah, No Clip
is the group name.
He does this marvelous Doom documentary where he interviews a lot of the developers from id, and also interviewing people talking about the development of the Doom game that just got shit canned.
Yeah, Doom of Duty.
Yeah, Call of Doom, whatever.
Yeah,
Doom of Duty.
Middle of Doom.
Yeah, recommended viewing for anyone who likes this game or is interested in it,
or just wants to see a fantastically sleazy like Jersey type dude talk about Doom. Like that guy, he's my favorite.
Hugo Martin. I could listen to him talk for a while.
I could listen to that dude read the phone book.
Yeah.
Anyway, Owen, what was the moment that it worked for you that you felt
I mean, this is gonna be kind of a nostalgia play, but it's that coming up the elevator sequence with it playing the like modern metal rendition of E1 M1.
Yeah.
And like the elevator door opens to the surface of Mars, and the Doom Marine like racks a shell in time
the
to
thing
the
they were
music.
talking about that we spent all night getting.
That's the punctuation point on that whole sequence though, right? Like it's the like shop S smart moment, like. You know, like, okay, you know what this is, like.
Well, I'm glad that works for them.
And then the thing, like, for me, picking one moment was hard when you asked that question because the game keeps giving you those. The game keeps reaffirming that throughout, right? Yes, you're here to kill and break shit, and yes, like, you don't give a shit what this guy's saying at you.
I love the JRPG enemy progression.
Yeah.
Where like at the first time I saw a Mancubus, I went, oh fuck, and I like took pot shots coming out of cover, like real brinksmanship stuff. And then every other time I saw a Mancubus after that, I was just like, all right, cool, I'm gonna shoot it. All right, what were we talking about?
So we were talking about. You were talking about the enemy progression.
Sure, yeah, and
so
like
first time the Mancubus.
Yeah. First time Mancubus, first time Baron. I was like, oh fuck!
It's that the boss of level 2 becomes the standard inventory of level 4.
I was gonna say, I think I was talking to Steven about this. I feel like as you gain more of those points that you use to upgrade your weapons, you get small under the hood bonuses. Because I felt like later on it was easier to dispatch enemies that earlier it had taken more hits to dispatch. And this is just a theory of mine. This is just a pet theory of mine. And I don't have a problem with this.
Yeah.
I think it's fine. Like, because the Doom Marine, he's absorbing the Argent energy through his fingers, you know.
Right, no, like if that's the case, it works in this really biological way. Mm. There's this growth that makes me feel as a player like I'm handling those dudes better.
Okay.
So, like, I don't know,
sure,
but if that's what's going on, it works in a really good, subtle way.
I mean, at the point that I noticed that, I think I was using, like, the same 3 weapons all the time.
I ended up doing that, too.
Yeah. Which, by the way, what were you, like, I, at the end, was exclusively Super Shotgun, Gauss Rifle, Rocket Launcher. Like, exclusively to all other things.
I almost never used the Super Shotgun. First of all, the Super Shotgun can't shoot grenades, so I would never use it over the normal shotgun. And second of all, it always felt like and like, hey, if you're good enough to use it this way, then like, you know, go for it. But like, for me, the risk reward balance wasn't right for me. That like I missed with my shotgun just enough that shooting 2 at once is not a good investment. It's better for me to spread them out.
Okay.
And that paired with the grenade launcher thing, the grenade launcher attachment for the normal shotgun in that game, I think, is like my single favorite weapon in the whole game. If you get it fully upgraded, like it does this thing where if you get a meat shot, like a body hit, it just erupts into little bomblets and just does like disgusting amounts of damage, and you can use it to kill just like most enemies in the game. But for me, it was normal shotgun.
With the grenade launcher.
Yeah, with the grenade launcher. I just need to differentiate it from the super shotgun, the double barrel. The plasma rifle I used a ton.
I used that at first, but once I got the Gauss cannon, they share ammo, so I stopped using it.
Oh, okay. I would use the Gauss cannon like situationally, but not a lot.
Oh, I use that thing all fucking time. Mancubus heads are very large.
I remember I used the little like rifle or submachine gun or whatever.
The like heavy machine gun
thing? The LMG.
With the rockets?
I used that like a lot for the first like third of the game, and then I just dropped it completely.
Oh, interesting.
That basically like the ways in which I was using it were the rolls I used it for were better achieved through other weapons later in the game. Like the little rocket launcher thing you can get for the LMG was really cool. Until I just started using other weapons, and like the shooting part of it, I just realized I liked the plasma gun and was using it in the same way. And the plasma gun's better for doing that. I don't know, that's about it for me. I like the chain gun, but I never felt like I used it enough.
So I had like 2 different setups. Like in regular arenas, I was shotgun, heavy machine gun, rocket launcher, depending on what I'm fighting, right? Because the shotgun, you're all up in people's grill with it. Mm-hmm. The machine gun is sort of this nice mid-range thing, and then I'd use the rocket launcher on big stuff because I just lock it on and rip a few rockets at it and stop carrying.
I actually used the remote detonate rocket a lot because that dot,
yeah.
explosion, I found to be very powerful.
So I bought it and I never used it because the lock-on was just... It worked with my playstyle so well.
Yeah, I went lock-on on the rocket launcher.
It's funny because I used weapons I never use on bosses. Mm-hmm. So like the Gauss rifle, the chain gun, and... I ended up using the rocket launcher there, too. When I got the super shotgun, I was, like, really happy with it. But I ended up sort of in the same camp as Owen with it, where even though I played that game really in everything's face, like, I was not afraid of getting all up in front of a Mancubus or anything like that, I liked having the grenade because I found myself in a lot of situations where everything's 20 feet away from me. And so the grenade gives me something to do while I get to them again.
Well, and also the amount of damage the grenade does is enough to one-shot, like, this large body of enemies.
Yeah.
Like, a grenade from the rifle, one hit kills an imp, one hit kills, like, any of the little zombies, one hits, like, a number of different things. And it can do it accurately at range.
Right.
And then you still have a close-up weapon that you can use without having to even switch to
It's like the Swiss Army knife thing that I really enjoy.
Like, I was using my super shotgun as essentially a melee weapon. So
yeah. And that's how I used it when I used it.
Once you got the pierce through enemies thing, you could, like, run up in a crowd, stick it in a Hellraiser's gut, and, like, come around on him and go, and, like, 3 people.
Right.
You know, that's what I was using it for.
I really liked the LMG because it's really accurate. So I could just continually, like, circle strafe around stuff, just laying damage into it with the left click. But then the micro missiles, like, again, when I found out the rocket launcher could lock onto things, that was just the micro missiles, but better.
Yeah, that's kind of what happened to me with the LMGs. I used it until I got the rocket launcher and was using it a lot, and it's like, okay, cool, putting this thing away later.
Yeah.
Like, bye, LMG.
I really liked the micro missiles, though. Like, I continuously used those throughout the game because, like, it had just enough auto aim on it that, like, when I needed some downtime from, like, ripping shotgun shells and, you know, moving just enough to stay alive and all of that, I could back off and rip off micro missiles, and it, like, that's how the tempo of the game went for me. I didn't really do the whole. You hear everyone talk about the chainsaw being this great,
I mean,
balancing factor of when you run out of ammo, but, like, I was plugging ammo upgrades in immediately, and, like, sort of once I'd had all of them, that wasn't a problem, right? So it more became about how engaged did I want to be in those longer arenas, and that just really dictated what I used. But those 3 really are it, because you just, once you have a pile of ammo, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it really doesn't. Anyway, was there any trouble spots for anybody? Did anybody have trouble at any point?
Well, like, this isn't, like, exactly, like, a particular trouble spot. It's, like, a mild trouble spot that encompasses the entire game. Where, like, to describe the problem, I would describe something a different game does. In Half-Life 2, it's a first-person game. You run around through a big world, you shoot things, you run around, you jump on things. But Half-Life 2 also makes a point of, like, introducing small physics puzzles that, like, aren't at all challenging to actually, like, figure out the puzzle of, but, like, are deliberately put there to break up the pace of the game so that you have some time to, like, mentally decompress after, like, running around and shooting a lot and running from enemies. And in Doom, there's none of that.
No.
There are no breathing points. Like there's some parts where the game gets quiet, but there's no, like I feel psychically exhausted after playing Doom for, like, 45 minutes often.
Okay.
And, like, that's not the... I've played it for a lot longer than that, but, like, there were a lot of times where I would just, like, I would finish a fight or something like that and be like, okay, cool, I'm saving and quitting right now. Like, I need to...
I countered that by exploring the map.
Oh, okay.
Is what I did.
Yeah,
see,
that's also what I did.
Maybe that's it, because I gave no fucks about exploring the map. I did no backtracking. I didn't find any secrets.
Right.
I found only a couple of the little bobblehead things, the little Funko Pop Doom Marines.
I'd hit this point where, like, big room, lots of demons.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, open map, go find the stuff I know I passed
had that
over.
Problem the first time you went to Hell and on all the UAC levels.
Okay.
Before the demon invasion.
Yeah.
Gets in, like, full, like, before you come back, like, first, like, before the boss, essentially.
The cyber demon.
Before the cyber demon, I had that problem where I would get exhausted after, like, big fights. But for some reason, after that, I didn't. I think it might have been.
There's a momentum to
like
it.
my power level or something had risen, or I was, like, using weapons that fit my brain better or something. I don't know.
There's definitely a comfort that I found in the latter half of the game because, like, it stopped throwing mechanics at me, right?
Yeah.
Like, I found ways to manage these things.
Probably, I did not enjoy my first encounter with pinkies.
Yeah. So, like, it stopped throwing new mechanics at me, and I, like, found ways to deal with everything. And then it was just about learning how to stack them, right? Learning what to prioritize.
That's why I used the super shotgun a lot. I was one-shotting.
Yes.
I was one-shotting pinkies after a single El Toro.
Yeah, you can get around.
Oh, okay.
It's really good for them.
Okay, I can see myself using the super shotgun now because I never got super great at dealing with pinkies.
Yeah, and then, like...
The other thing I would do is I would hit him with the dot from the lock-off by exploding it behind them.
Okay.
So
Oh,
it
so you get
hits
the extra
It hits
damage.
their butt, and they're like, my soft butt, and then like they're running after you, and you just like run away for a bit, and then they die because
Yeah.
that taunt lasts forever.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Not
like,
literally forever, I think, but like it lasts
Yeah,
a very
yeah.
long
so this
time.
segues really well. What's your most disruptive enemy?
No, the enemy that disrupts.
Yeah,
me
like
the most.
like you're in the arena,
That's a
you
great
know.
question.
The fucking summoner.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
Okay. But like I feel like
Because my playstyle was to run directly at whatever is like.
man, now I gotta chase you.
Yeah,
like
and
okay.
the summoner goes bye, and then there's all these other things for me to face,
Right.
and then it throws a bunch of things with punch through at me,
And
that,
she
like, go
keeps
through all the
spawning them,
terrain.
and yeah, I can see that.
For me, it's definitely like it's the Baron and the
Hell Knight.
the Hell Knight.
Yeah.
Where it's just this big dude that
So run straight at you.
meaty
he runs
fucker who
straight,
punches
straight
you
at
in the
you.
head.
He does enough damage that you can't just like be at close range with him,
Yeah.
and he's got like hit points for days.
Yeah.
So it's like me running backwards through the map in a loop, shooting a plasma rifle at him
Yep.
until he like
That's
keels
my
over.
life.
Hey, so you know what's really fun?
Hmm.
Headshotting Hell Knight.
Yeah.
With the Gauss rifle.
Oh, I tried doing that, and I never could do it
So
effectively
Steven
enough.
watched me do it at this close of like body to body,
Yeah.
5 times in a row, because their heads are like, yeah.
Well, and it's like the whole screen at that point, right?
Yeah.
I think the invisible pinkies are the
Yeah,
ones that
because
fuck
I
me
shot
the
those
most.
with the rocket.
So yeah. But like the thing is like I jump into the arena. Oh, an imp, rip his face off, right? Like,
Yeah.
oh, one of the shooty, formerly a guard guy's cool, like shield guy, throw a grenade at his feet, whatever. And then like next thing I know, I'm in a wall, and this thing that's invisible is sliming me, and
Yeah,
I'm like,
I think the
like,
biggest,
they
the biggest
surprise
thing
me.
with the pinky is the camera effect.
yeah. They surprise me enough, and when I'm moving quickly, I don't notice the like weird predator blur that they have on them.
Whenever I would see the invisible pinkies, I would be thrilled that they are not normal pinkies.
They have less health.
They've less health. They're also not armored on the front,
Oh, really?
like normal pinkies. So you can just shoot at them and they die. You don't
Yeah.
have to like play with them. And I don't think I ever got blindsided by them. But that just might be the way I traverse the map.
Yeah, no, like
That might just be my own bad play style.
Well, and I'm like, I'm very like. That game was really like cathartic for me because I've been playing cover shooters for years,
Yeah.
and this game's great because you jump in there, you shoot it in the face, and you rip its arm off and beat it to death with
That's
it.
why I liked the Psycho in Borderlands 2 so much, is they designed it to make you want
Right.
to do things you never do in
Right,
shooters,
and
that's really fun.
So that's why like I just sort of like fell into Doom for like a weekend was because like it's feeding this thing that other games don't give a shit about.
Yeah.
Right? Like I literally
it's like
was
what Serious Sam was so popular.
yeah. I was doing like they're like, yo, you're the Doom Slayer, you do this, and I'm like, yeah,
I do this.
yeah, and then like it just became like yeah.
So I want to talk about I don't like the Cyber Demon.
Just the Cyber Demon?
Just the Cyber Demon. I didn't have trouble with either of the other 2 bosses.
Huh.
Just the Cyber Demon. Cyber Demon is a real motherfucker. And actually, I'm going to addendum that. Only one of his attacks in his second
The
phase.
wave thing, right?
The wave thing, and only the horizontal one.
Mm-hmm.
The vertical one was fine. And yeah.
Yeah, like I remember you talking about having a lot of trouble with that,
Mhm.
and I definitely had trouble with it, but like not on the scale you did. So it was hard for me to talk about it and not feel like I was minimizing it. Like you were like really frustrated about it because I talked to you right after you'd done it.
Yeah, the Cyber Demon definitely gave me some static, but it wasn't of the 3 bosses. It was the one I got the least hung up on.
That's weird, because I had no trouble with either of the other 2.
Okay.
Their
The
attacks were eminently dodgeable.
the second boss pissed me off because I was used to being able to hurt things the whole time. Like it has to open up or you have to hit it in the right places, and like that's something that like for you were talking about the Cyber Demon expects these things the rest of the game doesn't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Is like I'm having a lot of fun playing Doom, and
Uh-huh.
what is Doom? Doom is you're in an arena,
Right.
you're locked in there.
Right.
There are demons. Kill them to leave.
You're
Right.
locked in there, but really they're locked in with you.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
And
Like
you kill them, and you're able to leave. And like time to kill is like at best 9 seconds.
right.
Right. Like so for me to be locked in an arena with this thing that punishes me for the instinct of double jumping every time you jump.
Right. When there's no other reason not to do that the rest of the game.
But the-
See, I don't have that instinct, and part of it is there was a habit that it never hurt me, as far as I can tell, but it was definitely like an unnecessary habit that I kept, where I never like mentally internalize that there's like no fall damage and things like that.
Mm.
And so like an FPS where you get a double jump and there is fall damage, I would often like make a point of saving my second jump when I jump off high ledges to cushion my fall.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
And so I think that like I didn't double jump the way you did that caused you trouble with the Cyber Demon because I have this
There's this weird reflex
this
there.
jumping tick that I have.
Yeah, interesting.
This habit that didn't really benefit me, I guess, except unwittingly it helped me with the Cyber Demon.
So the second boss, the two of them for some reason were easier.
Well, maybe we should clarify mechanically what the Cyber Demon's doing and why this is.
So okay, so yeah, all right. So the Cyber Demon does this thing where he, the Cyber Demon is like this big demon. He's bigger than you. You have to shoot him a lot, right? And you kill him, and then he turns into a hell portal. You go to hell. He's there because it's hell.
He's there and he's in hell, and now he's getting hell energy.
And he gets back up, and his arm that was previously a robot arm is now a demon arm, and it has a big sword on it. And he can shoot these like phantom blades at you by swinging his blade arm.
Right, he shoots a wave out of the sword. He shoots a
wave, and then a little bit behind it, a wave that is at a different height. And so you have to jump correctly through these, or take. It's a ridiculous amount of damage.
It's like 70 damage.
Yeah,
each.
It's ridiculous. Considering at the time, like you're having going into that fight, if you're not doing it perfectly, you're going in with 200 health.
Yeah,
like at best, right? So yeah, it's very very punishing. On top of the other thing that's pretty hard to dodge, the like laser cannon arm he does at you.
Right.
So. Doing that,
and then he puts you in a box too.
None of the other attacks were able to hit me.
Right.
There was only those two attacks, and it was only because every time I hit spacebar in that game for the previous 4 hours, I had hit it twice.
Right.
And that's what the game taught me to do. So.
And the same sort of like.
This and then I was mad at the Cyber Demon because I wanted to get back to killing demons in arenas.
Right.
Right.
And that fight is totally not that.
And it's not that at all, and you can't leave it, and you can't progress till you finish it, so...
Right. Yeah, and then, like, for the same reasons you don't like that, right? Like, this isn't the rest of the game. Mm-hmm. The second boss fight was difficult for me because there's no other timing-needed enemy. There's no enemy that's like, haha, you can't hit me right now. Like, there's the shield guys are the closest thing you get, and you just walk around them and shoot them in the back.
Arguably, that Pinky is like a timing...
Okay, but not in like not in like there's a damage timing window.
I don't understand why like the second boss, and I'm not trying to be ridiculous.
No, it's fine.
I don't get that at all because it was like 2 tries for me.
Okay, yeah.
One tried to learn his pattern, and I was like, okay, that's your pattern. And Steven was sitting right behind me, and he's like, you're gonna fight 2.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, cool. So I saved my rockets.
Right.
So when there was 2, I was shooting 2 of them at the same time.
Right.
Right? With the huge explosion, remote detonated, you have a dot now rocket.
So maybe that's where mine was different.
Well, so when I played the second boss, it was immediately clear after the first attempt what needed to be done. Yeah. And I just had a difficult time executing on the type of jump I needed to do to dodge his thing he spits out at you. And so what I ended up doing, just because I got sick of this, I ran into this boss at a really inopportune time. I hit it like the day before I went on vacation to visit my family. So I got back from vacation, haven't touched the game in a week, and I'm just on the boss that I've been like having a terribly hard time with. Right. And so like I got to a similar point where, like you, Matt, where it was like, I want to continue playing the game. I want to go back to climbing in arenas with demons and shooting them and running around. Yeah. So I bumped my difficulty down, managed to get through that phase. And actually the second phase of that fight's like way easier than the first.
It's weirdly easier. Like
and for me it was mostly easy because I was doing half of a BFG every rocket shot because I'm hitting both of them.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah. So that's rad. Oh, one thing I should note: bad playstyle on my part. I didn't know that T was the BFG key until like the last level of the game.
That's like a really easy detail to miss. Like when you get the BFG, I don't remember ever being told.
Yeah, it doesn't tell you it's not a number.
And the game
it does. So a little thing pops up at the bottom of the screen. Okay. You just haven't seen a tutorial for 2 hours.
Well, right, and I'm running around already crushing things, right?
Like,
so like,
and like I had a similar thing happen to me where like the game has such momentum, like in the gameplay, that I never stop to say like, oh, I can just press escape to pause the game and look at the controls and look up the keys. Like, fuck, I gotta keep playing. I gotta shoot things with these rockets.
These demons are still alive.
Yeah, and it was only like after I stepped on like my 12th BFG ammo and couldn't pick it up and couldn't figure out what it was.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is BFG ammo. You know, I should stop for a second and figure out what the fucking button
And, well, and then I learned it talking to you.
Yeah, and so, like, I messaged Keenan, and I was like, oh, hey, by the way, just in case, because this detail's super easy to miss, the key for BFG is T. And he's like, oh my god.
Yeah, like...
Okay, so I gotta tell you this thing. Steven was telling me this, that, so you know how the BFG, you, like, shoot it at them, and it's like a ball that, like, shoots them with lightning?
Oh, the speed run
right,
thing?
So apparently you could shoot the ball, and then you can go into the weapon wheel, which slows down time, but it doesn't slow down the BFG's tick rate, and the ball stops moving, mostly.
It just does a bunch of damage.
So on bosses, you can just win.
Okay. So I think that's why, I think that's part of why I struggled with the second boss fight, is, like, if I had... Partially, I had a problem executing on the timing window. Because the things I was using were slower moving. I was locking rockets onto the guy, and then trying to time it in between the shield being down.
Hit that dude with hits.
No, and like I figured that out and I worked around it eventually. But my style up until that point was, I'm going to stick some stuff to you and you're going to explode, not... Right, so he'd just put his shield up and be like, I don't give a shit. Yeah. And that sucked for me.
Yeah, I think that's also part of why I had such a hard time with him, because I was using the rocket launcher to fight him, and so, like, maybe half my attacks were getting through.
Right.
It would be timed properly, so, like...
And then I'm out of ammo, and I'm like, I don't want to shotgun this dude.
Well, in, like, the dodging thing that I was having a hard time executing, it's not just that it's hard to execute, but that because I'm doing damage to him so slowly, I have to do it over and over and over. Yeah. And even with maxed out health and armor, I think the way the numbers sort of bore out when I was playing it on normal difficulty is that, like, I can fuck up once.
Yeah.
And if I fuck up once, I can survive that. And if I fuck up again, I will die.
Right. Yeah, so I ran into that a lot. But then for some reason the set of two of them was easier because there was always one that was open.
Yeah.
Is the way it worked for me.
Yeah, they don't have a shield on the second one.
Okay.
And they also drop health and ammo when you're hurting them.
Yeah, so that's the part, like, the boss fights were really hard
they also
for, like...
get staggered. They get hit stun when they reach certain damage thresholds, which were happening all the time because I was dotting them.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so yeah, once I get one staggered, they were dead, right? Like, it was just like, no, you're done. Mm-hmm. But I also, the thing that the boss fights made me do, because the bosses are all so big, is I started using the thrown grenades then.
Okay.
I didn't use them until the Cyber Demon, but I'm like, he's not moving quick.
I literally only ever used thrown grenades by accident.
So it's weird, because I did that by accident during the boss fight, and then it took a chunk of his health, and I was like, oh, that's pretty good. And then I started using it on everything that was slow moving. Because, like, Mancubus, hey, you sit on it, right? Like just whatever.
Yeah, I don't know what it is with the grenades and me, because it's not that they aren't good. Maybe it's a similar thing where, like, how I never internalized fully that there's no fall damage. I never internalized fully that I had a button press grenade throw in the game.
Well, and that's the weird thing is, grenade is on control.
Yeah.
Which in all the games we've been playing is crouch.
Yeah.
Right,
well,
so like...
And also, this is a game that will ask you to crouch every once in a while, but for the most part, never asks you to crouch.
You don't need it.
And so, like, occasionally, I never internalized that crouch was this different key. So every once in a while, I would want to crouch, throw a grenade, like, at my feet or something, and be like, shit, run away from the grenade.
Well, and, like, the thing is, like, other shooters want you to crouch behind things.
Yeah.
Doom Guy crouches behind things, and 6 demons jump on him and kill him.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, like, you don't do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, the third boss wasn't as hard once I learned the pattern. But yeah, there was something about the damage timing window for me that...
On the third boss?
On the second one.
Oh, on the second boss.
That really, like, threw me at first, and I was like, okay.
Yeah,
but it wasn't like I got frustrated. It was just like, okay, I'm not doing the right thing for this, was my reaction to it. So I learned it, but...
So I guess we're kind of wrapping up here, I feel like, as far as Doom goes, unless you have more things to say, Owen.
I had one more thing on my Doom agenda.
Sure. I wanted to ask one more thing before we get to the last thing on your Doom agenda.
Sure.
So I have here written in my notes the Payday 2 / Bad Techno Award. Do you guys remember what that means? So I'm reading this as a thing the game did that is objectively shitty,
but that you love,
objectively janky, but is also like.
A bad thing that hits the right spot.
Yeah.
Is that a good summary?
Yeah. I feel like for me it was the particular flavor of objectively shitty metal music.
Yeah.
That works perfectly for what's going on.
I will agree with that minus the shitty adjective, because that shit is amazing. Like,
The
like,
objectively metal music.
Yes, it was objectively metal. The thing about that soundtrack that I really love is that they were capable of doing so many different kinds of metal, and they do them all in this really cheesy video game ass Saturday morning cartoon sort of way that really works for that game.
There's a glee to the soundtrack.
Yes, it's very like.
Anyway, so I want to give the Payday 2 award to the soundtrack of Doom.
The soundtrack makes me wish I owned red jeans.
Okay.
And,
So like,
And my joke goes.
yep.
and for the record, Bad Playstyle is a pro Simon Vickland podcast. We're not trying to besmirch his good name.
But like, I love horrible technology.
Yeah. Huh.
Anyway, Owen, what was the thing you had?
So like, I want to know what you guys think. Like, is this game a fluke? Like, could you ever make a sequel to this reboot of Doom? Like, could you even imagine like what story DLC would be like for this game? Like, is this a one and done? Can we ever expect? Is this something we can expect from it in the future, even if it's not necessarily Doom?
So for me, I don't care what happens next in the storyline of this game. That's not why I.
Oh yeah,
right. Like at the end, they had that stinger where Samuel Hayden pulls out he turns the dagger and
he turns that thing you've been carrying into a giant laser sword,
and he's like, "I'm a badass." And honestly, I'm like, no, the Doom Marine should have ripped his head off and smashed it into the ground. And if you wanted to do a sequel where Samuel Hayden comes out, you do that stinger. Guess what? At the beginning of the next game, right? Like,
I don't think so. So that's my answer to this is that I think that ending sets up a very obvious second game.
No, but like, so my problem with that is that you absolutely 100% cannot do more of the same.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
You can't come in and be like, hey, glory kills. You remember those from 6 months ago? Those were cool, right?
Yeah.
And you can't have 8 new weapons and be like...
Yeah, no, you can't progress it the same way you would a sequel.
Yeah, so, like, my problem is, so what the fuck? Don't even try. Like,
but I
do
think,
something completely different.
I think if you go after doing Doom 2, I can agree that it wouldn't work as well. But I think that game looks like the Doom guy, the Doom Slayer, chasing Samuel Hayden down because the job isn't done.
Sure, I mean, like, that would be compelling, but I'm saying the actual, like, underlying...
The gameplay stuff wouldn't work.
It doesn't work again.
Right.
You can't be like, I have a new tile set for you,
right.
I have 8 new weapons for you, I have some slightly different power-ups,
right,
and I have a different, like, upgrade tree. You can't do that.
Right, because the thing that's good about...
Oh, sorry.
No, go for it.
Oh, it was just like making a sequel to it would like Doom in a certain way. Like it was an unknown, like before it came out. It would require something on that level. Like if I made this comparison of like someone telling me about Doom without me playing it. Like how I would react to that. Like glory kills are canned animations where you kill enemies. It's like, wow.
Yeah.
Whoop-de-doo.
Yeah.
It's like,
QTEs, what is this, 2005?
Yeah, but like they're actually great.
Yeah.
They work really well in the game. And so like making a sequel to Doom would require some sort of unknown. Like it's not just making 8 new weapons. Like I think if they made a sequel, it would probably actually work better to keep all the weapons and just have different upgrades for them. But like to make them
different,
behave fundamentally different. But like that's not important anyway. What I was just all I'm trying to say is like if you were to make a sequel, like it would have to be something we don't know we want.
Right.
No,
It needs to do the same thing again.
What is it? Right. And I don't have an answer to that, and so I don't think that unless they're sitting down and having like some good ass meetings, has the answer to that yet.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. Like I don't think they expected it to be as big as it is. I don't think anyone expected it to be as fun and work as well as it does, right? Why were we even talking about Doom in 2017? Yeah. Right? That's insane. But it's so different enough from everything we've been fed for so long that it surprised us. What?
Except Bulletstorm.
Fair. But it surprised us in a way that it can't do again, right?
Yeah. Well, I don't. Yeah, I want to say can't, and I have said can't a few times now. But
it shouldn't be able to do that again.
So part of the reason I brought this question up is the Quake franchise, I think, is past its glory days.
Oh, for sure.
We have not had like a Quake game that anyone raves about in quite some time. There's a new multiplayer Quake game on the horizon.
Yeah, they've announced that they're doing
Yeah.
Quake now.
Yeah, they're doing and it's a multiplayer arena Quake. It's not like Quake 4 where you go fight the Strong. It's like, no, it's just like some cyber jack-offs in a 3D arena jumping around shooting rockets at each
Right.
other.
Should we talk about the fact that like they shipped this and tried to do it the same way that COD did it, where the single player was like this thing that we're not talking about, and the multiplayer was the focus? And
Yeah,
like,
the fact that the beta of the game was a multiplayer, and the multiplayer of this game is the least exciting piece of it.
I don't think that they're trying to sell it as multiplayer first, though, and story second. Like, the multiplayer of Doom, from what I understand, is outsourced to another developer.
Oh, okay.
It's definitely like a after the thought. Like, you can't release Doom without a multiplayer, but it's not like Call of Duty where they're selling a multiplayer game that also like has a single player.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think most of their energy
As
went
a single
into
player simply so that you can feel you got your money's worth.
Yeah.
Even though less than 20% of the player base plays that.
Yeah.
Even though they're like the best action movies ever.
Yeah. I think, and I think
Seriously,
you don't.
Modern Warfare 2?
Yeah, no, it's
Really good.
I think you don't get to. I think had they shown off any of the single player in the beta or anything like that, it wouldn't have had the pop it did.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
Right? It wouldn't have been as surprising for that first 5 minutes of like, punch a demon's head off, shoot another demon in the face. There's your armor surrounded by candles. People are praying to you. Like the way that intro builds is so good that you don't want that out of the bag at all, right? Like that's the surprise of that, and the build to that is so good that why would you shoot yourself in the foot showing it?
So what do you think the pathway is here? If you're a producer at id and you suddenly get this pile of money because people enjoy your Doom game, what do you do? Do you try to revitalize the Quake franchise, which sounds like they're doing? What do you do? Like,
Does Quake come out soon too?
I think it's this year. I think it's
Yeah.
like end of this year. I don't know because in some regards, and I don't know if you guys have played it, but the newest Wolfenstein game that came out like 2 years ago, the Old Blood, I think, New Order, Old Blood's the DLC, is good for all unexpected reasons as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's this weird like Man in the High Castle sort of 1960s the Nazis have won game. And like definitely doesn't have like the story depth that High Castle does, but like is playing all those same tricks on you as the viewer, and like it creates this interesting narrative for what used to be Wolfenstein 3D and Return to Castle Wolfenstein, which are like, they're mostly shooty games. There's not a lot of depth there, but they give Blazkowicz a character and he interacts with people in a really human way, and like that surprise is really great, and it's from a different company, but then for them to come around and do this to Doom again, like, for both of those to be as commercially as successful as they are, and also critically successful when they're built on maze shooters, is insane. And there's no obvious answer. Like, you already progressed this beyond its wildest dreams. What could you possibly do
and I think, you look at it, it's like, what Doom 1, obviously successful.
Right.
Doom 2, a polish on that. Like, it's just an iteration, right?
Yeah.
Of the same exact thing. Doom 3, total departure.
What?
Like, largely a failure.
Ambitious as hell.
Yeah.
But,
and like, I'm not saying that Doom 3 didn't have good points. There are a number of mods out there that are like horror games that use that engine that they're real good. Doom 3 scared the poop out of me.
Yeah, but my understanding, like, there's some game developers I like listen to on Twitter, like I follow them, and like there is like a sort of like weird reverence for the engine for Doom 3.
Yeah, the things that thing does.
Because like that's after Romero left id, but Carmack was still there, and so like Carmack is the like savant tech guy, and so that's why like Doom 3 is like the most bland in like its story and like
right, its flavor is lacking, but its tech is insane. And then to add to your declining quality, Doom the movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right, like
Saw
I think
that in theaters.
I think so bad, so good.
I saw a thing on my internet yesterday that said, "Did you know that Dwayne Johnson and The Rock are twins?"
Yeah.
It's just like,
So that like Doom got franchised into the ground, right? Is what we're saying. Like the magic wore off. You tried to polish it up. It didn't. Mm-hmm. And so what we're talking about now is like, how do you not do that again?
Right. So like the track record here is that the next Doom game will be shit. The next 3 Doom games will be shit.
I think the smart thing is not make another Doom game, but I don't think Bethesda, who owns id, is smart enough to let that go.
I think there will almost certainly be another Doom game with how well this one did. And I also, and if the next one is as good as this one, I will be thrilled.
Right.
But I also, wouldn't at all, I guess, blame the developers if it didn't live up to being a sequel to Doom.
Right. I would love a game that's all about, ripping Samuel Hayden's head off. I think that would be great, but you have to feed it right.
So, in the backstory in the game, you can find out that, Samuel Hayden was, a dude, and his body was, falling apart, and so he, made himself a robot body. What if, the plot of Doom 2 is, Samuel Hayden using the Crucible, the spooky demon sword thing, to make him a new body, and it's, fucking Romero's face, It's the boss in Doom 2.
He becomes the icon of sin.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would love to see a good Doom 2, but I don't think
what if
it's there.
Doom 2, the hubris of Samuel Hayden, icon of sin.
Real Colwyn Storm you got there.
Yeah.
Yep. There were layers there on purpose.
Is that what you do with your dog every afternoon? Take him outside for a Colwyn Storm?
No, that's Aaron's dog. Aaron... That's Opie.
Yep.
Opie does a colon storm.
Okay, I think...
Yeah!
Have we covered the Doom agenda?
We've covered Doom, and with that, I'm going to segue harshly.
Harsh segue.
Do a StarCraft.
Do a StarCraft. Yeah!
Alright, Owen, do a Metal Gear.
A Metal Gear?
Yeah.
Excuse me, a Metal Gear.
Yeah, that you just did it. Jatakazol. Yeah. So, there we go.
Okay, good.
Hey, Keenan.
Yes.
What was the dumbest thing that happened in wrestling this week?
The dumbest thing that happened in wrestling this week. It's a kind of a dry week for dumb stuff, so I'm sorry.
Sure.
They're getting real serious because it's Royal Rumble WrestleMania season.
I don't care.
Yeah, I know. So, yeah, there's nothing dumb and funny.
Why do you watch wrestling then?
That's a good question in that regard. I would say the dumbest thing that happened in wrestling this week is there's one guy who really, really wants to get a hold of Triple H, and in the middle of his match, they played Triple H's music, but Triple H wasn't in the fucking building, so he lost his match. That's really dumb. Right?
Okay, yeah.
That's like a bad story beat. You don't do that.
That's
Then I played his music, so he'd come out.
Speaking of bad story beats, this is a wonderful segue as opposed to Keenan do a StarCraft.
God damn it!
All right, fantastic, Owen. Speaking of horrible story beats, I heard you've been playing Skyrim.
I have.
Ouch!
Yeah.
I hate those story beats, and that hurts me.
I don't know why I'm playing Skyrim. I don't hate it or anything, but I don't think I don't love Skyrim as a game. And
Is it just too easy to be playing Skyrim?
Yeah, kinda. It's really easy to watch stuff, watch videos, and play it. Whereas I've been playing Tyranny, which you definitely can't be watching a thing and playing Tyranny.
It's story heavy.
And so to just completely decompress, I put on some videos on one monitor and then go skulk around Skyrim and crawl into shopkeepers' homes at night and kill them and take their things. And it's this completely directionless playthrough of the game. I joined the Dark Brotherhood and I did some of their missions.
But just to get their clothes.
Yeah, I got their nice Dark Brotherhood armor where I do tons of backstab damage. And I kind of dropped the Dark Brotherhood.
Thanks for the gloves, guys. Later.
But also, I'm living the Dark Brotherhood life more than they ever do. Because I'm just going out jacking fools.
Yeah.
I was like out on the road. And
So it sounds like you're a murderer. You're not a paid assassin.
Yeah, I'm just like a serial killer, I guess. Like me and my orcish dagger. It's like the best dagger I found, and I found like a lot of orcish daggers and nothing better. It's actually kind of starting to irritate me that I can't find something.
Well,
a little
it's
better.
like level locked, right?
Yeah.
So you just need to level up.
And like I'm not like really into the progression even, because sometimes if I realize I can't do a thing I like doing in Skyrim, I'll just pop open the console and max out a skill so I can do it.
Oh,
okay. Like this is like the most like directionless and masturbatory playthrough of Skyrim.
So like, Skyrim's always that for me.
It's not even like a power fantasy. You're just like,
yeah, I'm just like piddling around.
Yeah, all right.
I feel like Elder Scrolls games own that position though. Like every once in a while, you gotta feed the beast.
Yeah,
you know, like.
But like even when I play Bethesda's Fallout games, I get at least a little bit invested into the characters and world, whereas like in this, like it's completely incidental to me, like whether I'm in Skyrim or just like I don't know, anywhere. Like, I saw a mod recently for Skyrim that turns the whole game, it does a complete tileset overhaul, and turns it into, like, a desert oasis land with, like, palm trees and sand, and I saw some...
That's very upsetting.
I saw someone using this mod online, and I've been trying to find it just to mix things up, because I don't, give a fuck about the Elder Scrolls universe anymore, I feel like. And, like, this would just be a nice change of pace, but...
I think it's more the engine and the dungeons and like there's a baseline to Skyrim that everyone loves that like, you know, Conan, like fucking go in the cave and find a cool sword shit after killing a bunch of skeletons.
That's the other thing too, is I'm not even going into dungeons.
Really?
Yeah, like the only time I ever go into a dungeon is if I see a castle with bandits in it, because I know that like those are like some dudes I can just like jack. And like that they're people. Whereas like if I see like a cave full of skeletons, like I'm out. Like I don't care.
So like you're not only like a murderer, but you're like specific about killing living people.
Yeah,
nice. Okay.
Yeah, and you're like definitely not filling up black soul gems. So complete waste.
Oh, and I got that mod where it's the alternate start. Where you
I love it.
When you make a new character,
you just wake up
random
somewhere.
You wake up somewhere with like some items.
And you're like, what am I? I'm a merchant, I think.
Which like I found like a weird contradiction in it because you can still do the main quest with that mod. Because when you wake up in that random place, this is like, hey, maybe you should investigate Helgen, and then like you'll see like the event where the dragon burns the place down, and the story pops off. But I never went to Helgen. Like I still have a quest that says go to Helgen, yo.
Fuck Helgen.
Yeah. But when you talk to people, because the game is normally designed where you start in Helgen, I can tell people I've been there and I've seen it, and that like things happened in Helgen that definitely haven't happened yet.
Well, that's just the way the game's
designed. Yeah. I mean like I'm. To fix that, I would be asking the modder to go to, like, extreme lengths to fix, like, what is honestly a really minor inconsistency with the mod.
You're telling the game, I've been to Helgen. And the game's like, no, you need to go to Helgen. And you're done arguing with the game about it.
Yeah. So you've been playing Tyranny, and you've been playing...
Oh, and I've been playing a lot of Factorio.
Yeah.
Oh, God. I've launched 32
Another
satellites.
Feed the Beast game.
Yeah, so the objective of Factorio is to build a giant autonomous factory so that you can launch a satellite. You were stranded on an alien planet. Launch a satellite to, I believe, contact your people so they can rescue you. So when you eventually tech up to launching a rocket with a satellite, the game tells you you've won. And I did that. And then I just kept playing.
Is there just a keep going button?
Yeah.
Nice.
It's like in Civilization. And so I built this enormous factory. I annihilated all the native alien... There's like bugs, there's space cockroaches that attack your base. And I've launched 32 satellites, and I've optimized my factory to like a really upsetting degree.
Does the planet have free internet yet?
No, because I'm the only resident.
There's no like data system.
Even I don't have the internet in this world.
Yeah, I guess that's hard with
it's
one
person. It's a pretty
person.
lonely experience.
What's it going to do? Open a blog?
Like, I started building highways through my base so I can drive my Jeeps on it. I started building multiple Jeeps. Like, I don't even know what I'm doing, but I find it, like, very enjoyable to just boot up my Factorio save and just, keep
going.
Like, on Friday night, I got home from work.
Just enjoy the numbers.
Yeah, I got home from work on Friday night, and I just optimized my petroleum plant. And it's working great now.
I love the idea of them coming to get you and they're like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah.
So So do you
You built a highway
do you
system?
think the protagonist in Factorio is like a typical example of a person of his culture, or do you think that this dude is like a idiot savant who, like, wherever he goes, turns things from inordered systems to ordered systems?
I think he is psychologically broken by being stranded on this planet.
Okay.
Something I discovered after
Does
putting...
that mean you're just creating to do things? Is that like...
Well, so, like, you launch the rocket, but it's not you getting in the rocket and flying away.
Right.
Like, it's like if you watched Castaway and Tom Hanks is stranded on this island and he labors for years of his life to build a flare gun and shoot it.
And there's no payoff to that.
And he's still stuck on the fucking island.
Yeah.
So, like, that's what I've done by launching this satellite. So it's like, I don't know, guess I'm still stuck here. I better shoot 31 more flares. Let's get cracking on building those flare guns.
And he's only building because it's the only thing he has.
Yeah.
Like... Like, you have a fully functioning, fully automated factory, an entire highway system, and you've eradicated all the bugs, and, you know, they just land. They're like, what the fuck, dude? And you're like, I've been here a while.
He
Like,
eats nothing but fish. There's only one food in Factorio. If you go over to the ponds, sometimes you can see little dark shapes, and if you click on them... I only discovered this after playing the game for 200 hours. That if you click on the fish, you get a fish in your inventory, and you can eat it, and it heals you a little bit if you've been hurt by a cockroach recently.
oh, that's good.
So
good.
it's not even, like, super important.
Because you die in that game and just respawn.
No, if you die in the game ends.
Oh, okay.
If you die, it's just game over.
Apparently my factories aren't big enough for that to not feel like a respawn.
Yeah. But, like, the game also autosaves, like, every, 4 minutes or something. So, like, if you die, there's no way you could have lost much progress.
Right.
Sure.
What have you been playing, Matt?
Me? Oh, just Warframe.
Just, no way. No way, just Warframe?
Just Warframe.
Trying to think if I've seen you play anything else recently.
No. I think that's it.
Yeah?
Yeah. I figured out how to run the economy in Warframe, so it's fun again.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Figured the new hole.
Yeah, well, it's like, I can go out, and since I've been playing the game for so long, I can go to areas that other players can't, and very easily, very, like, trivially get things that they would pay me money for, like real cash money for, and
Real
then I can go...
in-game real money currency.
Well, that's, like, made out of real money, yeah, so I can go to them afterwards with the thing I just did that was, like, easy, and be like, hey, do you want this thing? And they'll be like, yeah. And be like, I don't want this thing. Here. And they're like, well, is this price good enough? I'm like, I don't care. And then they just pay me real money.
This is the unintentional end game for Warframe.
And then they pay me real money, and then I go buy cosmetics with it. And that's fun for me, apparently.
Yeah. I mean, but you're the guy who shows up to trades and stuff no one can have, too. So, like, like, that is... I get it.
Mm-hmm.
Matt's been playing Warframe for, what, 4 years now?
God, don't talk about it.
I just want to provide some context. Like, Matt's been playing it since it was in beta, and I played it in beta with him.
I was about to say, when did Warframe come out? Because, you bought into it.
I bought into the beta.
Yeah, so, like, and there's nothing, like, I'm not trying to, like, make it weird. Yeah. You obviously enjoy it. But to provide some context, Matt has almost everything in Warframe because Matt's been playing that long. Yeah. So new content updates are really cool.
Yeah.
Unless they suck, but whatever. That's just live games.
You've been playing Long War 2.
Uh-huh.
And I've been looking at that going, well, I never actually did an XCOM 2 playthrough because I played Long War 1 for like 3 months.
Yeah, we did that to each other.
Before.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are crazy.
These
these guys both played the extra long, extra hard mod of the first XCOM like a month before it came out, and I think we'd all pre-ordered XCOM 2.
Yeah.
And I'm the only one of the three of us that actually fucking played the game when it came out.
And then I haven't really played it until Long War 2 came out because fuck aliens, like, and me and my attachment to my squads. Because people don't live in Long War. That's not how it works.
They do in my game.
Yeah, there's reasons for that.
So this March, Warframe will have been out for 4 years.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But you got in the beta, so like.
I mean, like that was like a December winter break thing.
But what I'm saying is like, so you're probably past the 4-year mark. because the proper release is only like a month and a half away or something.
Well, because I think they're counting because they did anniversary stuff during beta. Beta was like a year long, so
okay.
I think, or was it? I don't know. Like it all blurs together. I don't remember.
Yeah.
I just remember specific.
Well, and that game's changed so much.
I remember.
Too. Like,
I remember in-game events. I don't remember when those happened in reference to like other things that were happening in my life.
Real times.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever. I guess it's my turn, right? For what I've been playing.
Yeah, Long War 2.
I've been playing. No, it's not just that though. I've been playing Long War 2. I've been playing a lot of Rainbow Six Siege.
Oh, I think I've heard of that.
Yeah.
Is that like that Due Process knockoff?
Yeah, totally.
Oh. Weird.
Yeah, so the thing that's cool about that is it's the first-person shooter my girlfriend's been interested in playing, so we've been playing that a lot together.
Cool.
And she's, like, getting better at doing PC shooter game stuff. Also, I just really like that game because 15-year-old me playing Counter-Strike really wanted to knock that wall down and shoot that dude in the head, and now I can do that, and that's great.
It's good.
And there's good meta game in that game. The way they build things onto that game, they pay attention to what's kind of broken in the game, and then they build something that counters it instead of punishing existing play. So, like, a good example of that is in the base game, there's two guys who attack buildings who find and destroy electronic items, and most of the defense items are electronic. So the first character they patched in was this lady who basically lays down big bear traps. So they're all mechanical, and that dude can't break them, and etc. So, like,
okay.
They provide this cool counterplay through what they're building, rather than
Also,
nerfing things to death and
when
punishing
a dude
people.
comes through a window and steps in your big bear trap, and then you roll over and shoot him with a shotgun, that's awesome.
It's a great feeling. You're like, haha, you're dumb, you're dead. So, yeah, that game's really cool, and they weirdly grew backwards. Like, they've got more players now than when they started.
Okay.
Yeah, games do that now.
Yeah.
It's weird. There's like AAA games which do the normal like peak and then
Like 80% of your sales in the first week or whatever.
yeah, and like that doesn't. It's not exactly.
Yeah, like
If I'm a developer, I don't want that.
Yeah.
Right?
well, like that's what Hitman's done. Is like they said like, hey, we're gonna make this game that has like a really long tail on it that like ratchets up more and more as time goes on, rather than.
Well, and I'm sure their
off.
numbers are similar in that they go up over time as there's more game.
Yeah, I believe they have.
I'm
saying this looking at no numbers or data,
Right,
just like
but
what I've anecdotally heard on the internet. But
I think more people now like Hitman than they did when it came out. Like, I think it's an easy thing to gauge.
Okay.
Cool.
Does anyone have anything else to say?
I think that's a show.
I think it is too.
Do we have a sign off?
One second. What are we doing next time, Owen?
Well, I would. If you're asking me what game I want to play next,
I'm not asking you what you want. I'm asking you what are we doing?
What are we doing?
What are we doing?
Executive Owen.
Sounds like you get first pick.
Okay.
That's what I think that means.
We're gonna play Oxenfree. Then.
Okay.
All right.
I couldn't remember the name of the game.
Oh, okay.
So I was trying to do like a thing.
I see. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Can you provide a little bit of what Oxenfree is?
Tell them about Oxenfree, Owen.
Oxenfree is a spooky ghost story game about teens.
Excellent.
You are.
Can we monetize them?
These are non-monetized teens.
Damn it.
They're pretty. They seem pretty broke. Honestly, I would target a different demographic.
I never understood the idea of like your demographic being teens. Teens don't have any fucking money.
No, but their parents do.
So the game's about a bunch of teenagers go to the island where teens go to drink and smoke and fuck or whatever, and this island has like sort of a spooky ghost story. I don't like to use the word ghost to describe what's happening on the island, but like there's myth, like sort of rumors and myths. Like there's these weird radio frequencies on the island, and they're coming from nowhere. Like some of it can be explained. Like there's like an dilapidated military installation, and so there's like a repeating numbers station. It's like, all right, whatever. That doesn't like break my imagination. But
Does
then
anyone crack the number station?
what in Oxenfree?
Yeah. Is there like an ARG group doing that?
I don't think so. Well,
Okay.
it repeats, and I don't think it changes much throughout the game. Anyway, yeah, and so there's like these mysterious radio frequencies and noises and like weird archival music comes up, and then there's like this portal to a weird dimension that appears when you're hanging out with your teen friends in a cave.
Okay.
And
Sounds good.
weird crap happens, and it's mostly just like dialogue options and walking around picturesque map pieces. There's like almost no UI. It's a very pretty game.
Okay, and it's short, which is part of why we're playing it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
And then the only other thing I would say to that effect is we might be able to get a guest host on our podcast.
Okay.
I have someone I know who might be interested in playing along with us and being on the podcast.
Who's that?
Like a rotating chair.
Well, so I was playing it last night, and one of my housemates sat down with me and watched me play it for a while.
Yeah.
And she was like, "I want to play this game now."
Okay.
And I
That
was
sounds
like,
great.
And I was like, "Hey, we might do this on a podcast." She was like, "I would love to be on a podcast." And I was
Okay.
like, "Cool."
So who's this person? Let's generate some hype.
At least she lives downstairs.
Okay.
She
At least from downstairs.
at least from downstairs.
At least from downstairs.
She doesn't.
That's how we're
Play,
getting introduced.
she doesn't play video games much, from what I understand.
That will
so-
be useful perspective.
Yeah, it'll be a weird, an outside look.
Cool.
All right. And with that, that's the end of our show. I will leave you with my favorite noise that I encountered during editing. Yeah.
All right.
All right, good game, guys. Now's when you tell us it didn't record.
Our theme music is made by my good friend Benjamin Busey. You can find his SoundCloud at soundcloud.com/basicbenji206.